Hey parents, I'm Mr. Pritchard. Your kid has me for science this year. And 7th grade science is all about life science, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. I sure do wish I had you guys here in person because, I don't know, I really like to meet the parents a whole lot because what I always tell them is totally the truth. It's an honor to meet the people who love your kids even more than I do. So what is life science? Well, we're going to be learning about ecology first, then we're going to get into the cell, and then we're going to go out into the big human body and find out how our human bodies work, and then we're going to learn about heredity, and lastly, evolution. Like I told your students, I'm really not crazy about the masks. They make it hard for me to hear them. I can't see them. I can't understand what they're saying. They can't understand what I'm saying. So as often as I can, I'm going to take your kids outside where the air is clean and clear and the UV rays from the sun are killing the virus, and we're going to be safe out here. We're even planning a field experience for your kids for team building, and I'm hoping that most of you saw our permission slip that came home. We're going to do it right here at Southampton's amazing campus. We have got quite the campus. We're going to do team building, games with them, and parents are going to actually run small groups of kids who are going to be doing photography, nature photography, and it'll be a little scavenger hunt that they're going to do. So if you decide that you want to be one of our chaperones on October 8th, you would be with a small group of kids. Probably your kid would be in that small group, but then there would be a second small group that you would have after lunch that would perhaps not have your kid in it, or vice versa. Maybe your kid would come in after lunch. But anyway, that's one of the things that we're going to be doing soon. It's a very fun trip. We usually do it at Hartford Glen, but that's not available to us this year because of COVID. And but we have the best campus for this thing. Honestly, it's like a small Hartford Glen here. In addition to the work that we do in science class, we also do a lot during Pride. As a matter of fact, I told your kids that Pride time is my favorite period of the day. We do a lot of environmental education then, and the students do projects, real projects, like the group a few years ago that made a trail of these signs, about 17 of them, that run all over the campus that explain to people how we do different things here to make ourselves environmentally friendly. A different group of 8th graders that I used to teach, who are now seniors in high school, built a Pride patch, which is really an outdoor classroom, and the patio is completely permeable. That means that all the pavers suck the water down into it. About 1,200 and some gallons of water gets pulled into this every time that it rains, instead of running off and going into our local stream, which is Bynum Run. If you walk far enough away from the building, you can get to the places where we've also impacted the environment here at Southampton Middle School. Throughout the past 15 years I've been teaching here at Southampton, and 8th graders and some of my 7th graders have done some very cool projects here. We're just about to approach one of them, and that is the meadow and the trees that we planted. We planted about 400 trees from this corner of the property all the way down to this corner of the property down here. And we put in some meadow plants like these wonderful milkweeds, which will probably have some monarch butterflies on them, right? Those are all planted by students. Once a year they'll come through and mow this in the late fall, but what a cool habitat we've created with that, just by letting it go and by putting some seeds in there from our courtyard. We also, at the same time, we have this no-mow zone. So that's the low-mow zone. This is the no-mow zone. The no-mow zone is becoming a forest. So we did this about 8 years ago. We started planting these trees. They've gotten quite big, right? This is a red bud. And if you look through here, this was mostly planted by kids. The original forest is back here. We also maintain these trails. And all of this kind of work, well, first of all, as you can see, it needs work. This is the trail, and there's all kinds of stuff that fell down and got in the way. So this is the kind of thing that your kids might be involved in, working on making sure that the outdoors is accessible to the entire school. We take it upon ourselves to make certain that the outdoors is accessible for learning. We're a green school. One of our old teachers, a math teacher, Mr. Jensen, who was then our principal a few years ago, this sign here explains how he built an amphitheater, which you can barely see because this tree fell down on it. But this was his, it was a math project. His students measured and then put in the ground this incredible outdoor classroom. And my students have done throughout the years, we've had to fix some of these benches because they were rotting away. We still need to clean these and do some preserving to them. This one we had to replace, and this one over here we had to do some replacing on it. But this, and also there's an amazing trail here that we've worked on, and a stream. Now the stream, which is down here, it's fantastic, but you know, like this tree that fell down is kind of blocking one of the main ways that we get in there. So I have a bow saw. I'm going to be teaching some of the people, some of the kids, how to cut these parts off, these chunks. As soon as we get them big enough to drag away, then the kids will, you know, relocate this so the custodians can come through, mow this grass and all the way up to the edge so that we can actually access the stream. We have a trail that runs along the sides of the stream. And one of the big problems was that we had a bridge that kept on floating away. So a couple of years ago, my students built this bridge, and it's got posts sunken into the ground. It goes over a little trickle of a stream that probably is raging when it's washed, when there's a flood thing going on. As you can see here, the water has been washing across this. You can tell by the way the grass is all bent over, and these branches have been pushed up against our bridge, right in front of the bridge. And even over here, you can see that the water level must have been higher than our bridge because it floated these logs up over top of it. And yet the bridge is solid. So it's neat because the kids are actually doing real stuff, things that they can come by years later and say, yeah, I did that. And it's not just, you know, like how often were you in school and you said, when am I ever going to use that? They're just using it right now and they're making an impact. So that's the kind of stuff I like to do during Pride time, and understand that I'm really excited about having your kid in my class. I'm hoping that I can leave them better than I found them, and I'm hoping that they'll leave everybody else better than they found us, and including the place where we learn and where we call school. It should be a great year, and I want to be your partner in raising your kid up to be the adults that you're hoping that they'll become. Thanks very much. I hope to meet you in person someday, because these movies just don't do the trick.